In the age of social media, you may be familiar with the hashtag Say Her Name campaign that aims to highlight the stories of Black women who have died at the hands of police brutality. Today, we're joined by Emmy-nominated activist and Virginia State University professor, Dr. Zoe Spencer, to discuss her Emmy-nominated spoken word performance, Say Her Name. Good morning, Dr. Spencer.
Good morning. Good morning.
In listening to the piece, you so eloquently remind us of the injustices and the importance of bringing their stories to light, not just on social media. So describe the inspiration for the piece and the meaning that you hope we take from this.
So I always start by saying sometimes the words are not my own. The ancestors kind of speak. The inspiration, I originally wrote the piece after the death of Sandra Bland. And so during the course of this development, there were things that were happening to Black women that were really, really significant. And so the motivation behind the piece was, one, to pay homage to Sandra Bland, but more importantly, to kind of give a historic context. Oftentimes, women, historically and contemporarily, die alongside Black men at the hands of police as a result of state-sponsored violence, be it during the antebellum period with Black women being lynched beside their husbands or their sons, the Jim Crow era, the civil rights movement where Black women were equally being hosed and bitten by dogs, and now to this contemporary state where Black women are being murdered by police. I wanted to pay homage not just to the women who fall today and who have fallen contemporarily, but to also pay homage to the ancestors, the unknown Black women who have fallen in history.
And of course, as you know, we've reached a new place in the movement for Black lives. How would you describe where we are and where do we go from here?
I think that this is a pivotal point in history that I actually never thought would come in my lifetime. I mean, I think that, you know, the time for introreflection that our quarantine provided, and then the brutal visual of George Floyd's death that is really symbolic of lynching strangulation here in America. I think that it has really piqued not only Black people, but people who are allies, white progressives, others, our other marginalized groups. I think that we're at a period now where people are really ready for change. And so the conversation about racism, systemic racism, the way that white supremacy is rooted in our institutions and the way that it plays out, I think that people are really, really ready to not only have those conversations, but, you know, even looking at Governor Northam, who has made Juneteenth a state holiday. I never thought it would happen in my lifetime. And so I think that the young people who are on the front lines moving this movement have really allowed and set the stage for us to make some really, really radical reforms or even some transformations in our system. So I am celebrating the youth who are on the front lines doing the work and the people who are in the back rooms making those policies and law changes that are necessary to bring about true equality in this country.
So you are a professor and have this incredible impact on young people, have a passion for working with young people. What does it mean to be Emmy nominated for this project? And what message do you have for those students who have been watching you, do your research and share this message?
They're my inspiration. I have to shout out my babies from VSU. I love them. They're absolutely my inspiration. They stay in my spirit. They give me purpose. Educating them, I say sprinkling water on them and nourishing them gives me purpose. Seeing them now on the front lines and advancing movement here in Richmond, in Washington, D.C., in Minneapolis as well, it just gives me purpose. I'm so humbled by the Emmy nomination. I don't even have words for that, but I think that, it, for me, it shows that it can be done. I have babies, Dayana Lee, who is a poet, Kandwani Fidel. I mean, I could name Michaela. I could name so many names of my students who are spoken word artists in general. And so I hope that this, opens a door and gives them inspiration so that, they will be Emmy nominated and hopefully Emmy award winners too, because we have a lot of prospective Emmy award winners at Virginia State University.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing with us, reminding us of the importance of this topic, this conversation, continuing to teach these special lessons that are not always included in the mainstream history that we hear of. For those of you who are interested in watching the incredible performance by Dr. Zoe Spencer, we'll post a link to the entire performance on our website at WTVR.com/BTM.